I never imagined the day I'd bury my husband would be the day my life truly began. The sky was weeping that afternoon, gray and heavy over the churchyard. Elijah's coffin-polished mahogany with brass handles reflected the flickering candles. Like some cruel mirror. 25 years of marriage, a house filled with memories, and yet I felt nothing. Not grief, not peace, just a strange emptiness, like someone had scooped out my insides and left an echo. People whispered condolences. I smiled politely. My hands were dry, my eyes obediently moist. I'd practiced this kind of sorrow for years back when I thought pretending could make something true. After the service, I returned home to silence. His clothes still hung neatly in the closet. His cologne still on the dresser. The scent of lies. That's when I saw it, the envelope. Lavender paper. No return address. My name written in handwriting I didn't recognize. He promised we'd plant lavender this spring. That was all it said. No greeting. No signature. Just that one line. For a moment, I laughed. A nervous, hollow laugh. People send strange things after a death: flowers, sympathy cards, religious pamphlets. But this was different. Lavender was our flower. My husband and I planted it behind our first house. He said the smell reminded him of peace, but we hadn't planted any in over 15 years. I flipped the envelope over and saw a faint postal stamp: Cedar Falls, North Carolina. We lived in Virginia. Elijah had never mentioned Cedar Falls. Or maybe he had. Once. A business conference. Years ago. I hadn't thought about it until now. I searched his files, his phone, his emails. Nothing. Except one receipt, buried deep in his old laptop bag. Lavender Hill Nursery, Cedar Falls, NC. Dated to months before his death. The same week he told me he was in Boston for meetings. The drive took 6 hours. I told my daughter I needed solitude, time to process the loss. She believed me, just like I had believed him. Cedar Falls was small, almost too perfect. White fences, tidy lawns, church bells echoing through streets that smelled of wet pine and lilacs. I found the nursery easily, an old wooden gate, Lavender Hill carved above it in faded paint. A woman in her 40s stood behind the counter, trimming stems. Her hands froze when she saw me. "Can I help you?" she asked. "I'm looking for information about a customer." "Elijah Vance." She blinked, then, slowly, nodded. "You must be Margaret." The way she said my name, gentle, pitying, made my stomach twist. Her name was Claire Stanton. She owned the nursery. "Elijah used to come here every month," she said. "He loved the lavender fields. Said they reminded him of home." I asked if she knew he had died. Her lips parted slightly. "I read about it. I'm sorry for your loss." But she didn't look sorry. She looked haunted. When I asked how she knew my husband, she hesitated. Then, quietly, "We were close." My throat tightened. "How close?" She looked down at her hands. "He helped me build this place. We were partners for 8 years. 8 years. My world blurred. And then she said something that chilled me. "He said he'd tell you everything when spring came." Claire invited me to her house nearby. I should have refused, but I didn't. Something inside me needed to see. Her home was simple, cozy. Family photos lined the mantel. A teenage girl smiling beside a dog. A man's shadow in the background. Elijah's shadow. My knees weakened. "That's my husband." She nodded slowly. "He was Lily's father." The girl, 14. He'd had another child. Another life, Claire explained through trembling lips. "He said he was divorced. He said you left years ago." I didn't know until the obituary. When I saw your name, Margaret, I realized everything. Every word felt like glass in my ears. My husband had divided himself to homes, to women, to realities, and now one was standing in front of me, wearing the same wedding band I wore for 25 years. I left before dawn, unable to breathe in that house that smelled of lavender and betrayal. But the story wasn't over. Not yet. Door creaks. Paper sliding under door. 2 weeks later, I found another lavender envelope, the same handwriting. He promised we'd finish what we started. This time, no postmark. It had been hand-delivered. I checked my security camera. At 2:14 a.m., a figure stood at my front door, a woman in a hooded coat, carrying a bouquet of lavender, Claire Stanton. But Claire had died 3 days earlier. A car crash. I drove back to Cedar Falls. The nursery was abandoned. Police tape fluttered in the wind. A detective recognized me. "You're Margaret Vance, right?" He said Claire's death wasn't an accident. Her brakes had been cut. They'd found traces of lavender oil on the steering wheel. And something else. A phone in the passenger seat. Unlocked. A message drafted but unsent. "He's alive. Meet me at the nursery." I stared at the words until the letters blurred. He's alive. Elijah had been buried. I'd seen his body, his ring, his coffin. Or had I? Night fell as I reached the nursery. The lavender fields were black silhouettes under lightning. Someone was there, standing among the flowers. "Elijah?" My voice cracked. The man turned slowly. His face, sparsely hidden by shadow, was familiar, yet different. He smiled faintly. "You shouldn't have come, Margaret." I took a step back. "You're dead." He chuckled softly. "That was the plan." I couldn't move. My legs felt frozen. He explained calmly, as rain soaked his coat, that he'd staged his own death with help from Claire to escape debts, scandals, everything. But when Claire wanted to back out, he silenced her. She was getting too sentimental, he said. "You always were stronger, Margaret. I knew you'd understand." I whispered, "You killed her." He smiled again. "And now you know too much." He stepped closer. I reached into my coat pocket. The revolver felt cold in my trembling hands, my father's old gun. For 40 years, I'd never raised my voice to him. Tonight, I raised something else. One shot. The lavender field swallowed the sound. It's been 3 months. The police called it self-defense. The town called it tragedy. Every morning, I water the lavender in my garden. Sometimes, when the wind moves just right, I swear I smell his cologne, and every night, before I sleep, I open the drawer beside my bed and take out the last lavender envelope. Still sealed. No return address. I haven't opened it. Not yet. Because some promises are better left buried. Fade out. Music swells. Ends on haunting single piano note. And that was the Lavender Letter. A story of love, loss, and the secrets we bury. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments. And tell me, would you open the last letter?